On a distant planet far from Earth, there lived an alien girl named Lyra. Her planet was once filled with life, colors, and joy. But now it was a sad and lonely place. The sky was a dark purple, and the air was filled with a chilling silence. The beautiful flowers and tall trees had been destroyed during a terrible war that took everything away from her. Lyra wandered through the ruins of her home, searching for anything familiar. The memories of her family haunted her. She remembered their laughter and how they would gather under the glowing trees at night, telling stories about the stars. But now those stars seemed distant and cold. Lyra felt abandoned. Her colony had been attacked, and in the chaos, she lost everyone she loved. Many of her friends had run away, and her parents were gone. She had hidden away, hoping they would return, but no one came back. Days turned into weeks, and she was left all alone. As she walked through the wreckage of her village, she stumbled upon a small, broken toy. It was a robot she had once played with. Picking it up, she felt a rush of sadness. It reminded her of happier times. With tears in her eyes, she held the toy close, wishing for her family to come back. But deep down, she knew they were gone. Feeling hopeless, Lyra decided to leave her home behind. She needed to find somewhere safe, somewhere she could feel warmth again. With only the stars to guide her, she set off on a journey through the unfamiliar land. The ground was rough beneath her feet, and the night sky felt heavy with darkness. As she traveled, she encountered strange creatures. Some were friendly and curious, while others were dangerous and frightening. Lyra learned to be careful. She climbed steep hills and crossed dark rivers, all while hoping to find a new place to belong. One day, as she wandered through a dense forest, she heard voices in the distance. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. She cautiously approached the sound and soon saw a small village. It was filled with humans, bustling about their daily lives. The houses were made of bright colors, and laughter filled the air. Lyra felt a spark of hope. Could these humans help her? She wanted to believe they would accept her. But she also felt scared. Would they see her as a friend or a foe? She hid behind a tree, watching them closely. As she observed, she noticed a human medic named Dr. Ethan. He was treating injured villagers with care and kindness. His gentle hands and warm smile made her feel a little safer. Lyra wished she could approach him, but the fear of rejection held her back. Hours passed, and as the sun began to set, the village grew quieter. Lyra knew she couldn't stay hidden forever. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out from behind the tree and walked toward the village. Each step felt heavy with uncertainty. When Ethan noticed her, his eyes widened in surprise. He had never seen an alien like her before. Her bright green skin and big round eyes stood out in the fading light. Lyra felt a wave of panic as he approached. But instead of fear, Ethan smiled gently. "Hello there," he said softly, kneeling down to her level. "Are you lost?" Lyra's heart raced. She looked into his kind eyes, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this human could help her find a new home. She nodded slowly, unsure of what to say. Ethan extended his hand toward her. "It's okay. You're safe here." His words were warm and reassuring. Lyra hesitated for a moment, but then took a step forward. In that moment, Lyra realized she might have found a new beginning. She was no longer alone. With the kind medic by her side, she felt the weight of her sadness begin to lift, as if hope was finally returning to her heart. Ethan knelt down, his heart racing as he saw the alien girl standing before him. Her bright green skin shimmered in the soft light, and her big, round eyes were filled with fear and hope. He could see she was scared, but also curious. Ethan knew he had to approach her gently. "It's okay," he said softly, trying to sound reassuring. "I won't hurt you. My name is Ethan." "What's your name?" Lyra hesitated, her mind racing. She had never spoken to a human before, and she didn't know how they would react. But something about Ethan's warm smile made her feel safe. "I'm Lyra," she finally said, her voice barely a whisper. Ethan's smile grew wider. "Lyra, that's a beautiful name. Are you lost?" She nodded slowly, feeling the tears begin to form in her eyes again. I don't have a home anymore," she said, her voice trembling. "The war took everything away." Ethan's heart sank. He knew about the war. It had affected many lives, both human and alien. "I'm so sorry," he said, reaching out to offer her his hand. "You can stay here with us for now. We'll help you." Lyra looked at his hand, unsure. She wanted to trust him, but was afraid of getting hurt again. After a moment of hesitation, she took his hand, and a warm feeling spread through her. Ethan gently pulled her to her feet, and together they walked into the village. As they entered the village, Lyra noticed the humans bustling about. They were cooking, laughing, and helping each other. It was so different from her home, which had been filled with fear and sadness. She felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Ethan led Lyra to a small building filled with soft beds and bright lights. "This is the clinic," he explained. "I help people here who are hurt or sick. You can rest here, and I'll make sure you're okay." Lyra looked around, feeling overwhelmed. She had never seen anything like it. The walls were painted in cheerful colors, and the air smelled of fresh herbs. It made her feel a little better. "Thank you, Ethan," she said, her voice gaining strength. "I don't know what I would do without you." Ethan smiled again, his kind eyes sparkling. "You're safe now, Lyra. We're going to help you." Over the next few days, Lyra began to adjust to her new life in the village. Ethan took care of her, providing food and shelter. He taught her about the human way of life, and she shared stories about her planet and her people. As they spent time together, their friendship grew. Lyra watched as Ethan helped other villagers, treating their injuries with care and compassion. She admired how he listened to their problems and made them feel better. He was a true healer, and she felt grateful to have him in her life. One afternoon, as they sat outside under the sun, Lyra asked, "Ethan, why do you help others so much? Don't you get tired?" Ethan looked thoughtful for a moment. "I believe everyone deserves care and kindness. Life can be hard, and sometimes we just need someone to be there for us. It makes me happy to help." Lyra nodded, understanding. She had experienced pain and loss, and now she was beginning to feel a sense of hope. Ethan's kindness was like a warm light in her heart, pushing away the darkness of her past. As days turned into weeks, Lyra became more comfortable in the village. She helped Ethan in the clinic, learning how to treat minor injuries. The villagers began to accept her, and she felt like she was becoming part of their community. However, not everyone was friendly. Some villagers still viewed her with suspicion. They whispered behind her back and shot her wary glances. Lyra felt the sting of their words, and her heart sank at their rejection. One day, as she was helping Ethan with supplies, a group of villagers approached, frowning. "Why do you help her?" one man shouted. "She's not one of us." Ethan stood tall, his voice steady. "Lyra is a friend. She deserves our help just like anyone else. We are all beings who deserve kindness." Lyra watched Ethan stand up for her, her heart swelling with gratitude. In that moment, she realized that she had found more than just a protector. She had found a true friend in Ethan. With Ethan by her side, Lyra began to believe that she could build a new life. The shadows of her past were still there, but now they felt less heavy. Hope blossomed in her heart, and for the first time in a long while, she felt like she belonged. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra settled into her new life in the village. With Ethan's help, she began to feel more like herself again. The villagers slowly accepted her, and she found joy in small things: the sound of laughter, the smell of food cooking, and the warmth of the sun on her skin. Every day, Lyra worked alongside Ethan in the clinic. She learned how to clean wounds, mix herbal remedies, and comfort those in pain. Ethan patiently guided her, showing her the right ways to help others. Each time she successfully treated someone, a feeling of pride filled her heart. One afternoon, as they prepared for the day, Ethan said, "Lyra, I think you're ready for your first solo patient." His eyes sparkled with excitement. "I believe you can do it!" Lyra felt a mix of nerves and excitement. "Really? You trust me?" "Of course," Ethan replied with a warm smile. "You have learned so much already. Just remember to stay calm and listen to your patient." Taking a deep breath, Lyra nodded. She felt determined to show Ethan that she could do this. Soon, a villager entered the clinic. It was an elderly woman named Mara. She walked slowly, leaning on a cane, and her face showed signs of pain. Ethan was busy with another patient, so Lyra stepped forward, ready to help. "Hello, Mara," she said softly. "What brings you here today?" Mara smiled weakly. "My back has been hurting for days. I can barely move." Lyra listened carefully, recalling what Ethan had taught her. "Let me take a look." She motioned for Mara to sit down. With gentle hands, she examined the woman's back, feeling for any knots or tension. "You have a lot of tightness here," Lyra said, pressing lightly on the sore spots. "I can help you feel better." Mara nodded, watching Lyra with interest. You're very kind, Lyra. I'm glad Ethan brought you here. With Ethan's guidance still in her mind, Lyra prepared a warm herbal compress. She mixed herbs she had collected from the forest, remembering how Ethan had shown her the best ones for pain relief. As she worked, she felt a sense of purpose. "Here you go," she said, placing the compress on Mara's back. "This should help soothe the pain." Mara closed her eyes, and a peaceful smile spread across her face. "Thank you, dear. It feels warm and comforting." As Lyra continued to help Mara, she felt a wave of happiness wash over her. She realized she was making a difference, just like Ethan. This moment was special. She was not just an alien girl anymore. She was a healer. After finishing with Mara, Lyra beamed with pride. Ethan walked over, watching her with admiration. "You did an amazing job," he said. "I knew you could do it." Lyra's heart swelled with joy. "Thank you." It felt good to help her. The days continued to pass, filled with laughter and learning. Lyra grew more confident in her skills, and her bond with Ethan deepened. They shared stories and dreams, finding comfort in each other's company. Ethan spoke of his hope for peace in the world, while Lyra shared tales of her home planet before the war. One evening, as they sat under a blanket of stars, Ethan asked, "What do you miss the most about your home, Lyra?" Lyra thought for a moment. "I miss my family and the way the trees glowed at night. But I also miss the feeling of being safe." Ethan nodded, understanding her pain. "You're safe here now, Lyra. We're building a new home together, and I will always protect you." His words filled her heart with warmth. "Thank you, Ethan. You have shown me that kindness exists, even after so much loss." As the stars twinkled overhead, Lyra felt a sense of belonging. The fear and sadness that once consumed her were slowly fading. With each passing day, she learned not only about healing, but also about love, friendship, and hope. One day, as they worked in the clinic, Ethan turned to her with an idea. "Let's hold a community event. We can celebrate the new friendships we've made." Lyra's eyes lit up. "That sounds wonderful. We can invite everyone to share food and stories." Ethan grinned. "Exactly. It will bring us all closer together." As they planned the event, Lyra felt excited. She realized that she was not just learning to heal others, she was also learning to heal herself. She was finally on the path to finding happiness again, and it was all thanks to her friendship with the kind medic, Ethan. The day of the community event arrived, and excitement filled the air. The villagers decorated the clinic with colorful banners and bright flowers. Lyra and Ethan worked side by side, preparing food and setting up tables. Laughter and chatter echoed around them as everyone joined in to help. Lyra felt a flutter of joy in her heart. She looked around and saw the villagers coming together, sharing stories and smiles. It was a beautiful sight, and she felt proud to be part of it. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the village, the event officially began. Ethan stood up to welcome everyone. "Thank you all for coming. Today, we celebrate friendship, kindness, and new beginnings. Let's enjoy this time together." The villagers cheered, and Lyra joined in, feeling a sense of belonging wash over her. As they sat down to eat, she looked at the delicious spread before them: roasted vegetables, fragrant bread, and sweet fruit. "Try this, Lyra," Ethan said, handing her a piece of bread. "It's my favorite." Lyra took a bite, and her eyes widened with delight. "This is amazing. You have great taste." They both laughed, sharing stories about their favorite foods. As the night went on, the villagers took turns sharing their own stories. Some spoke of their struggles, while others shared tales of hope and bravery. Lyra listened intently, feeling inspired by their strength. She realized that everyone had faced challenges, but they had also found ways to rise above them. After the meal, Lyra stood up, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. "Can I share a story?" she asked shyly. "Of course," Ethan encouraged her with a warm smile. Taking a deep breath, Lyra began. "Back on my planet, we had a beautiful forest filled with glowing trees. I would climb them to see the stars. But when the war started, everything changed. I lost my home and my family, but I want to tell you that even in darkness, we can find light. I found it here with all of you." As she spoke, the villagers listened quietly, their faces filled with understanding. When she finished, a wave of applause erupted around her. Lyra felt her cheeks heat up with embarrassment and joy. The event continued late into the night, filled with laughter, music, and dancing. Lyra felt like she was living in a dream. She looked around at her new friends, grateful for their acceptance. In that moment, she knew she had found a new home. However, as the celebration ended and the villagers began to leave, a group of worried faces gathered at the edge of the village. Ethan noticed them first and turned to Lyra. "Something isn't right," he said, his brow furrowing. Curious, Lyra walked with him to the group. An elder named Tarek spoke up, his voice trembling. "We need help. A storm is coming, and some villagers are trapped in their homes. We can't reach them in time." Ethan looked at Lyra, and she could see the determination in his eyes. "We have to help them." "Are you ready for this?" Lyra felt her heart race. "Yes! I want to help." Without wasting any time, Ethan gathered supplies and Lyra followed closely. They raced through the village, gathering a few other brave villagers willing to join them. As they prepared to leave, Ethan said, "Stay close to me, Lyra. We'll make it through this together." As they ventured out into the darkening night, the wind began to howl, and the first drops of rain started to fall. The storm was fierce, but the group pressed on, determined to save those in need. Lyra felt the weight of fear on her shoulders, but she remembered the stories shared at the event. They spoke of courage and kindness. With each step, she felt stronger. She was no longer just an alien girl, she was part of a team, fighting for her new friends. As they reached the first house, Lyra knocked on the door. "Is anyone inside?" she called. A voice answered, "Help! We can't get out!" With quick teamwork, Ethan and the villagers worked together to clear debris blocking the door. Lyra's heart raced as they finally opened it, revealing a family trapped inside. Relief washed over her when she saw their grateful faces. "Thank you! Thank you!" the mother cried, hugging her children tightly. As they continued their brave journey through the storm, Lyra realized that she was capable of so much more than she had ever imagined. Together with her friends, she was making a difference. Through the wind and rain, they pushed forward, showing true strength and unity. This was her new home, and she would fight for it. The storm raged on as Lyra and the villagers worked tirelessly to rescue those trapped in their homes. Each time they freed a family, the joy and gratitude in their eyes filled Lyra's heart with hope. She felt a new sense of purpose growing within her. After many long hours of battling the storm, they finally reached the last house. Tarek, who had been leading the effort, turned to the group. "This is it. We have to make this count. Everyone stay focused." As they approached the house, the wind howled louder and the rain poured down in sheets. Lyra felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Together they knocked on the door. "Is anyone inside?" Tarek shouted. A weak voice responded, "Yes! We can't get out!" Lyra's heart raced. They had to act quickly. Ethan led the way, pushing against the door, but it wouldn't budge. "We need more strength," he called out. Lyra stepped forward, remembering the strength she had found in herself during the event. She placed her hands on the door, feeling the energy of her friends behind her. "On three!" she shouted, feeling the determination surge within her. 1, 2, 3. With a mighty effort, they pushed together and the door creaked open. Inside, a family huddled together, fear evident on their faces. Lyra's heart ached at the sight. "You're safe now," she said, stepping inside to reassure them. The family, a mother and her 2 children, looked at Lyra with wide eyes. "Thank you. We thought we were trapped forever," the mother said, tears of relief streaming down her face. Ethan gestured for the family to follow. "Let's get you out of here. There's a shelter nearby where you can be safe." As they all hurried out, Lyra glanced back at the house. The storm was fierce, but she felt a fire of hope burning brightly within her. They had rescued everyone who needed help, and she was proud to be part of this brave group. When they finally returned to the village, the rain had started to ease. The villagers gathered to welcome the rescued families, their faces filled with joy and relief. Lyra felt tears of happiness fill her eyes. They had come together to fight against the storm, and they had succeeded. Ethan stepped forward and addressed the crowd. "Thank you all for your bravery and teamwork. Tonight we showed that when we stand together, we can overcome anything." The villagers cheered, their spirits lifted. As the night wore on, the village came alive with warmth and laughter. They shared stories of their bravery during the storm and comforted each other, celebrating their unity. Lyra watched as families embraced, the sense of community stronger than ever. In the days that followed, the village worked together to repair the damage caused by the storm. Lyra joined in, eager to help. With each nail she hammered and each board she placed, she felt a deep connection to her new home. One afternoon, while working with Ethan, she said, "I never knew I could feel this way. I feel strong, like I belong." Ethan smiled at her. "You are strong, Lyra. You have a brave heart. You've changed so many lives, including mine." Lyra felt warmth spread through her chest. She realized that even in the darkest times, there could be light. She had found family among these people, and her past no longer haunted her. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky with shades of orange and pink, Lyra stood outside the clinic with Ethan. They looked at the stars twinkling above, and Lyra felt a sense of peace. "Do you think we'll always be safe here?" she asked quietly. Ethan nodded. "As long as we stand together, we can face anything. We're a team, and you're a part of this family now." In that moment, Lyra knew that she had found a new beginning. The fear and loneliness she once felt were gone, replaced by love, friendship, and hope. She had transformed from an abandoned alien girl into a brave healer with a new purpose. As the stars continued to shine overhead, Lyra made a silent promise to herself. She would always fight for her new home and for the people she loved. Together with Ethan and the villagers, she would face whatever challenges came their way. With a heart full of hope and determination, Lyra knew that her journey was just beginning.